good enough so that we can proceed with this lesson. So by show of hands, anyone who can lead us through a prayer. After that prayer, we run through a thing or two before we start this passage. Yes, class. No one is in the mood of praying or? Okay, late one.
Okay, let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this morning. We thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for this moment. We thank you for this lesson. We thank you for each one of us here. Heavenly Father, we ask you to send your Holy Spirit to come and guide us so that we may understand each and everything they are going to teach us. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, we have prayed.
Amen. I please put the baby to sleep before the lesson starts, otherwise you might not learn. Okay, that is good from late on. Anyone to remind us of what we looked at last week? Anyone? Maybe by just telling us the question we looked at. Yes? Yes, Leighton.
Okay, we looked at the effects of the question was, examine the effects of increased population on the environment of your country.
What were the key terms?
The key terms were population and environment.
Population and environment. Do you remember at least any definition?
Yes, we defined population as we defined population as the total number of people living in a geographically defined area over a period of time.
Yes.
And then we defined environment as all components of the earth, including land, water, plants, animals, and the atmosphere
that surround man.
Yes, that surround man.
It's very important for you to link them. Thank you so much. Apart from Leighton, any other student who attended last week's lesson, or we are all backbenchers enjoying what others are telling us? Yes, any other person who attended the lesson? Oh. Are you demoralized after the president's address? Wensonga, last week you were very vibrant. I enjoyed having Wensonga last week. I had other people I can remember here, the likes of Joseph. You were very vibrant last week. I don't know what's happening this week. Let me see by show of hands who is there. Okay. Some people are putting up their hands, but I'm not. Okay, Joseph, yes, you're here.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you, Joseph?
I'm all right. You want that I've just joined, but you want that we explain, we talk about the effects of increased population on the environment.
No, I wanted you to remind us of what we talked about last week under population and environment.
Population and environment.
Yes.
Okay. By defining the, okay.
We have already defined, we're looking at the stand, the question stand, which did we take? Were you there in last week's lesson?
Yes.
Okay, which stand did we take?
We had to take the that question was standing on one side. It is one-sided question.
Which one was that?
Going on the effects of increased population. So we are supposed to give the negative effects only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I remember we generated a lot of points. I had asked you to explain at least 3 or 4. I hope you did that.
Yes.
On your own. So towards the end of the lesson, I will pick you to explain at least 2 or 3 less reasons, or rather the effects of increased population on the environment. Okay. All right. Let us now go to what brought me here today. Most of us most times we have looked at only the section A, that is that is literally essay writing, but here now I want to look at number 6, which is comprehension. There are questions that will come: who should do comprehension, who should do logic. Logic is number 5, comprehension is number 6. That is standard, that is how it is. So most people will ask who should do comprehension and who should do the passage. I will say this, that there is no fixed person who should do which number. However, it is encouraged for you to read both questions before you approach. Please read both questions before you approach. So today I had shared this passage in our Google Classroom. If you read this from the Google Classroom, please put up your hand. Anyone who went to the Google Classroom and read this passage, please put up your hand and help us read very fast. Any student who went to the Google Classroom, do you know that Google Classroom exists, or some of you just hear it from this side? Because there is no assignment I give that you people try out. I give work there. I don't know, even I put notes. I don't know if you follow up those things. By show of hands, Caroline, are you in Google Classroom? Caroline? Charles, are you in the Google Classroom?
Yes, I'm in Google Classroom, but I never saw the work, the comprehension.
I put this work today morning. Actually, I think yesterday night by around 10 there, I put this work.
So I'm just going to go there, and I've seen the notification of email here.
You wanted to why is live on air? Okay, fine. Let me pick one. Joseph. Joseph, you're there. I can see you.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
You are saying that you had to send the comprehension. We didn't see it. I had to just see that one over entrepreneurship.
You go again and check. I make sure before I come for a lesson, all my lessons, I post my work before, so that in case I go off with network, I can refer you to go to the Google Classroom. But the work is there. That's why Charles is saying he has seen the work by notification. So you go there. Okay, Caroline is going to read for us. Shadan muted. Caroline, are you on? Come and read for us the passage.
Teacher, I have just checked from the Google Classroom, but I'm not seeing the work.
All those excuses will come. Okay, I have the work here. You're going to read for us. Are you there? Caroline?
Yes, teacher.
I'm going to put
Teacher.
for you to, okay, you're going to read for us. So I hope you can see what is on my screen.
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to start reading for us.
Okay. Should I start reading?
Yes.
Read the following passage and answer the questions that follow. The Gikuyu customary law of marriage provides that a man may have as many wives as he can support, and that the larger one is family. The better it is for him and the tribe. The love of children is also an encouraging factor of desiring to have more than one wife. The custom also provides that all women must be under the protection of men, and that in order to avoid prostitution, all women must be married in their teens, that is 15 to 20. Thus, there is no term in the Gikuyu language for unmarried or old maids. Before the advent of the white man, the institution of serfdom and wage workers was unknown to the Gikuyu people. The tribal customary law recognized the freedom and independence of every member of the tribe. At the same time, all were bound up together, socially, politically, economically, and religiously, by a system of collective activities and mutual hope, extending from family group to the tribe. For economic and political reasons, every family was expected to be able to protect its own interests, and at the same time to protect the common interests of the tribe from outside attack. To do this effectively and to command the respect of the tribe, it was necessary for every family to have a number of male children who would be called up for military service in time of crisis and in times of crisis and alien aggression. It was also necessary to have a number of male children who render assistance by cultivating the land and looking after the general welfare of the tribe, while the men were fighting to defend their homesteads. Furthermore, the society can do without them.
Hmm?
For the,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
furthermore, furthermore, the society cannot do without them.
Otherwise, you'd
For,
have distorted the meaning. For they,
Mommy. For they have the most sacred duty of creating and rearing future generations. Female children are therefore looked upon as the connecting link between one generation and another, and one clan and another through marriage, which binds the interests of clans together and make them share in common the responsibilities of family life. There is a fundamental idea among the Gikuyu that the larger the family, the happier it will be. In the Gikuyu, the qualification for a status to to hold a high office in the tribal organization is based on family and not the property as in the case in European society. It is held that if a man can control and manage effectively the affairs of a large family, this is an excellent testimonial of his capacity to look after the interests of the tribe, whom he will also treat with fatherly love and affection as though it were all part of his own family. A good leader begins in his own homestead. After a man has had the first wife, a year or so generally passed, and then his wife starts to question him about getting a second wife, especially if she is expecting a child or immediately after she has had one. My husband, don't you think it is wise for you to get me a companion? Look at look at our position now. I'm sure you will realize how God has been good to us to give us a nice and healthy baby. For the first few days, I must devote all my attention to nursing our baby. I am weak. I can't go to the river to bring water, nor to the field to bring some food, nor to weed our gardens. Nor to weed our gardens. You have no you have no one to cook for you. When strangers come, when strangers come, you have no one to entertain them. I have no doubt that you realize the seriousness of the matter. What do you think of the daughter of, of so and so? She is beautiful and industrious, and people speak highly about her and her family. Do not fail me, my husband. Try and win her love. I have spoken to her and found that she is very interested in her homestead. In anything that I can do to help you, I'm at your service, my husband. Even if we have not Even if we have not enough sheep and goats for the dowry, our relatives and friends will help you so that you can get her into our family. You are young and healthy, and this is the best time for us to have healthy children and so enlarge our family group and thereby perpetuate our family name after you and I have gone. My husband, please act quickly as you know. The Gikuyu saying, the Gikuyu saying, the flowing water of the river does not wait for a thirsty man. The husband, following his wife's advice, starts to act. He approaches his parents and after consultations with them, arrangements are made to visit the girl and her parents. If accepted, he proceeds to pay the dowry and other gifts connected with marriage. When all arrangements are completed, he builds a hut next to that of the first wife and then brings the second wife home.
Okay, thank you so much. I see someone's hand up. I know some of you have just joined. Was it Quinton? Quinton, your hand was up. I don't know why you have disappeared. So today we are looking at a passage, number 6. Today we're looking at a passage. The most important thing about a passage is how to summarize. So usually when I'm in a rush, I prefer to begin with the question. And that is number 6, or the question that asks you to summarize. That is the guiding question to understanding the passage. So when you are alone and you are hard of, let's say you're starting to read this passage, I encourage a shortcut is begin by reading the question. The question gives you an highlight of what the question is. I mean, of what the passage is all about. So without further ado, I want another reader. Someone who can help us read the second time, especially if you've just joined. I want for the second time a reader that can help us understand as well, preferably a male reader. It seems Emily is a girl. Emily, are you a girl? Emily, it's okay, you can read. Okay, I think Emily's network. Shalwa is the network. Shalwa, your background.
Yes, teacher.
Your background, it seems you have a lot of young siblings around. I want a quiet Samuel. Let me take one Samuel. Samuel, are you there? Okay, it seems Samuel's network is also an issue. Samuel. Let me try out Pamela.
Good morning, teacher.
Good morning to you. You're going to help us start by reading the question, and then later on, begin with this question number C.
Number 2. Question part B.
Yes. Number C.
Number C.
C.
Okay.
Yes.
In not more than 100 words, give reasons why the Gikuyu embraced polygamy in their system.
Okay. In not more than 100 words, give reasons why the Gikuyu embraced polygamy in their system. So that's what this passage is all about. So ours is when she's reading, I want us to look out for those reasons why the Gikuyu embraced polygamy. That's what we shall be looking out for. Please, each time you feel you have found a point, note it down. Note it down. Please, may you start?
The Gikuyu customary law of marriage provides that a man may have as many wives as he can support, and that the largest one's family, the better it is for him and the tribe. The love of children is also an encouraging factor of desiring to have more than one wife. The custom also provides that all women must be under the protection of men, and that in order to avoid prostitution, all women must be married in their teens, that is 15 to 20. Thus, there is no term in the Gikuyu language for unmarried or old maids. Before the advent of the white men, the institution of serfdom and wage workers was known to the Gikuyu people. The tribal customary law recognized the freedom and independence of every member of the tribe. At the same time, all were bound up together, socially, politically, economically, and religiously by a system of collective activities and mutual help extending from family group to the tribe. For economic and political reasons, every family was expected to be able to protect its own interests and at the same time to protect the common interests of the tribe from outside attack. To do this effectively and to command the respect of the tribe, it was necessary for every family to have a number of male children who could be called up for military services in time of crisis and in times of crisis and alien aggression. It was also necessary to have a number of female children who render assistance by cultivating the land and looking after the general welfare of the tribe while the men were fighting to defend their homesteads. Furthermore, the society cannot do without them, for they have the most sacred duty of creating and rearing future generations. Female children are therefore looked up as a connecting link between one generation and another, and one clan and another, through marriage, which binds the interests of class together and makes them share in common the responsibilities of family life. There is a fundamental idea among the Gikuyu that the larger the family, the happier it will be in Gikuyu. In Gikuyu, the qualification for a status to hold a high office in the tribal organization is based on family and not the property, as the case in European society. It is held that if a man can control and manage effectively the affairs of a large family, this is an excellent testimonial of his capacity to look after the interests of the tribe, whom he will also treat with fatherly love and affection as though it were all part of his own family. A good leader begins in his own homestead. After a man has had the first wife, a year or so generally passes, and then his wife starts to question him about getting a second wife, especially if she's expecting a child or immediately after she has had one. My husband, don't you think it is wise for you to get me a companion? Look at your baby. For the first few days, look at your position now. I am sure you'll realize how God has been good to us to give us a nice and healthy baby. For the first few days, I must devote all my attention to nursing our baby. I am weak. I can't go to the river to bring water, not to the field to bring some food, not to weed our garden. You have no one to cook for you. When strangers come, you have no one to entertain them. I have no doubt that you realize the seriousness of the matter. What do you think of the daughter of?
So that you can get.
What do you think of the daughter of so and so? She's beautiful and industrious. People speak lightly about her and her family. Don't follow me.
Whoever was reading, please put up your hand again. Okay, Pamela. Okay.
What do you think about the daughter of so and so? She's beautiful and industrious, and people speak highly about her and her family. Don't fail me, my husband. Try and win her love. I have spoken to her and found she very interested in our homestead. In anything that I can do to help you, I am at your service, my husband. Even if we have not enough sheep and goats for the dowry, our relatives and friends will help you so that you can get her into our family. You are young and healthy, and this is the best time for us to have healthy children and so enlarge our family group, and thereby perpetuate our family name after you and I have gone. My husband, please act quickly, as you know, the Gikuyu saying, the flowing water of the river doesn't wait for a thirsty man. The husband, following his wife's advice, starts to act. He approaches his parents, and after consultations with them, arrangements are made to visit the girl and her parents. If accepted, he proceeds to pay the dowry and other gifts connected with marriage. When all arrangements are completed, he builds a hut next to that of his wife and then brings the second wife home.
Okay, those are the Gikuyu. I'm sure the young men here are admiring to be Gikuyu, but the ladies might not want to be the Gikuyu. So each culture has its own customs, and today our passage is based on the Gikuyu culture to deal with polygamy particularly. Why do they embrace polygamy? So I want to give highlights. I know your teachers have already told you that when you're dealing with this number, the most important are two sections, that is C and the meanings of words, because each of those carry about 20. Now you can see here, you have 12 marks almost. So if you miss the summary, it is very important. This is the one which has rules, more rules applied in the summary writing. But just like our summary writing in O level, we are very fresh from our O level. We still remember the rules of summary writing. The first one, it has to have a title. We have to have both a rough copy and fair copy. Even here in A level, we expect the same when you're summarizing. So, but the first thing is for us to derive, the points that are needed there. Then for these other ones, suggest a suitable title for this passage. Definitely we shall begin from there. Those ones, there are not many rules under that. However, what I can tell you that a title must be comprehensive. Gone are days where someone tells you a title should be 6 words and all that. A title must capture the main gist of the passage. It must have the subject of the passage. So that's what I can tell you, that the title must be comprehensive. And then maybe for the meanings of words, you must write out the word, then give its meaning. Most of you just give out the meaning. No, we must write out the word and its meaning. That's the guiding principle I will give us for today. So after reading this passage, what do you think is a suitable title for this passage, which we are suggesting? Yes, class, by show of hands. What do you think is a suitable title for this passage? Shalwa.
Good morning, teacher.
Good morning, Shalwa. How are you?
I'm fine. For me, I think that the suitable title is The Reasons Why the Gikuyu Embraced Polygamy in Their System.
Reasons why the Gikuyu embraced polygamy in their system. Okay, thank you. We shall edit it. Samuel, which title do you think we can give this passage? Yes, Samuel. Samuel, is it your network? You can type it in the chat for those. Emily. Yes, Emily.
For me, I think that we can say polygamy in the Gikuyu culture.
Thank you so much. That is a more summarized and straightforward title. In fact, I take that one, that polygamy in the Gikuyu culture or the Gikuyu community. That's a good one. So we can go with that title that Emily has given. The title for this passage is Polygamy in the Gikuyu Culture. So the question, if you look at question C has given us a hint, polygamy, but in which system? In the Gikuyu. So that is good enough. Let me take a look at our chart. The Gikuyu livelihood and customs. Polygamous marriages among the Gikuyu principles against. No, it's not against, Charles. The question is saying why they embrace. What is the meaning of embrace? Boami. Most of the young men here are fearing to speak. You think the young ladies will know you are wrong? Even them, they don't know. So you can tell me. Samuel.
Yes.
What is your answer?
The polygamous life in Gikuyu.
A polygamous life in the Gikuyu community. That is okay. That can go. What is the meaning of the word embrace? I hope you're not the one who misfired. What is the meaning of the word embrace? Charles, you can tell Charles the meaning of the word.
Me?
Yes, what is the meaning of the word embrace?
The supporting.
Embrace means supporting.
That's all I can say.
That's all you can say. Okay. Thank you. To embrace is to take up or to be part of. When people accept to live in a certain way, that's what you'd say. They have embraced. Are we together? That's when you'll say they have embraced. They have embraced a culture or embraced a custom. That's what we can. That's what we can say. Okay. So the suitable title for this passage is polygamy in the Gikuyu community. Now I want us to go to the next part. So this title can be written either in capital letters or lowercase. There is no problem. Only the title. Then B, explain in your own words what the author means by Roman 1. Custom also provides that all women must be under the protection of men. What does he mean? Let us look for that part and see what did the author mean, or what does the writer mean when he told us, or when he tells us that all women must be under the protection of men. Yes. Can we look for that? Bwami, Benjamin? Last week you were all shining. What happened this week? Are you frustrated about the presidential advice? Bwami? Okay, still some people. Joy, yes, Joy. What does it mean? And can you get for us that part as we are reading? Yes, Joy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, what does the author mean when he says all women must be under the protection of men?
So I think it can mean like all women should obey and respect their husbands.
You sure? Let us get here. Who can read for us? Thank you for trying. Let me try out Pamela. Pamela.
When the author says that all women must be under the protection of men, I think he means that every woman must find a man to marry.
Every woman must be married to a man. But what is the reason? If we look at this from the custom also provides that all women must be under the protection of men, and that in order to avoid prostitution, all women must be married. So the answer is right there. You have given us a good one, that it meant that every woman had to belong to a man to avoid prostitution. That's what that one means. So you write out the word and then you write out the meaning. Let me check our dialogue here. The words are too small. Is that true? I think others are saying if you can use for those. I don't know if that is okay now. Rachel. Rachel, I hope that is now okay. You let me know. All right. Then the second one, the second word there, they're saying, what does the author mean when he says the institution of serfdom? Let us run there and see. The second phrase here, we are told that the institution of serfdom and wage workers was unknown. What does the author mean by that? What does the author mean by that? Samuel, your network is not so clear. Yes, Samuel? You take long to respond. Samuel? Okay, Pamela again. Speak direct into the microphone.
I think, remember, I think this line was somewhere where they were talking about having many children and okay, like they were not caring about, they did not have those things of like kingdoms, who is supposed to be the chief or paying or working. They used to work together. Yes, like they never had anyone from a higher class and someone
The
from
line
a
is
lower
here.
class.
The line is here that before the advent of the white man, the institution of serfdom and wage workers was unknown to the Gikuyu people.
Yes. Like they never had a real life. You know, serfdoms are, I think a serfdom is like chiefdom, like a chiefdom, eh? So that's a serfdom. So they did not have those things of who is supposed to rule us, who is of a higher class than us. They used
now let me guide you there. When you have higher class and lower class, what does it create? What does it create when you have higher class and the lower class?
It creates, I think, like the higher class must be superior from the lower class. Hence, the higher class might start ruling over the lower class.
Okay, I know this one is a bit disturbing because you have to infer the meaning, but here it means that that for every man in this community, listen to this, let's read. Usually for you to derive the meaning, you look at the line up and the line below. So let us try to look at the lines up. We can begin maybe from, let's begin from the custom. The custom also provides that all women were to be married under the protection of men. In order to avoid prostitution, all women were to be married in their teens. Thus, there was no term in the Gikuyu language for unmarried. Then that actual line. Before the coming of the white man, the institution of serfdom and wage workers was unknown to the Gikuyu people. The tribal customary law recognized the freedom and independence of every member of the tribe. At the same time, all were bound together socially, politically, and economically, and religiously by a collective activities of mutual help extending from the family. Now, if you read these other extra lines below, this time the meaning is below, not up. It means that all men were equal. Are we together? They were all equal. No one was judging people. The issue of serfdom, just like Pamela has said, brings about class. And that means if someone is getting a wage, for example, Pamela, if you're working and you're getting a wage of 10,000 and another of maybe 3,000, who do you think is going to be more recognized in our current society? Our current society has grouped us according to wealth. That's why now they will say, most of the girls say, want to get married to men who have already made it in life. Those days, women just used to get married to men. These days, women get married to men who have money. Abakoramu, that is the common phrase in the street. They don't just marry anyone. So here, the meaning here is that every man, it meant that the Gikuyu custom, every man was valued, not because he was earning, but because he was part of the community. That is the meaning of that phrase. Now I go to the most important question. That is the summary question. Those who have come up with points, which points have you come up with? In not more than 100 words, and please, the word limit is encouraged. Don't go beyond 100 words. Make sure you're within, because they count these words, be within the word limit. Now, I want us to go to the reasons. Which reasons have you come up with? Why these people embraced why they accepted polygamy or why they loved polygamy? Which are those reasons? By show of hands. Which are those reasons why these people loved polygamy? Which are those reasons why people loved polygamy? Which are those reasons people loved polygamy? Which are those reasons why people loved polygamy? I don't know. Can you be able to see my screen? Let me see here. Okay, I hope now you can see my screen. Let us by show of hands share. Okay, I see hands here. Mariam.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Mariam.
Me, teacher, it's Miriam. I can say that these GQU people, why they embrace polygamy is to avoid prostitution among young girls. That's why they married them in their teenagers between the age of 15 and 20. Yeah, for prostitution in their community. That's what I can say.
Yes, that is very true. Thank you. That is one. We must raise 8 points at least. Let me take Dixon or Dromadri. Dixon. Okay, Dixon. Joy. Joy Lavin.
So I think it is also they impress the polygamy system in their culture because of the love of children.
Okay, love of children. That is very true. That is the second point. Thank you. I want us to raise another point. Melissa.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Melissa.
I think the Gikuyu men marry many women because of the fundamental idea that the larger the family, the happier it will be.
Very true. That is point number 4. This class is doing fine today. Layton. Layton.
Okay, I think the Gikuyu people embraced polygamy because of the desire to increase the family lineage.
Increase family lineage. Okay, yes, that is true. The same point can be mentioned as there was need to build a family name after the husband has died. And then to the women, why did the women require their husbands to marry more women? Joseph, why do you think your wife, if you're a Gikuyu, would ask you to marry another woman? Joseph?
Yeah, I can think that the women were encouraging their men to get more women so that to get more children to do home activities, home activity works.
Even for themselves, for the other co-wife to help her to do the domestic chores of cooking and looking after the husband. That is true. Thank you. Rita. Rita.
Oh, the qualification for the status to hold a higher office.
Okay. Okay, yeah, it was one of those that was considered. For one to hold a higher position, he had to have a family, and if you have a small family, no one would generally recognize you. Okay, that is true. What about for the girls? What was the purpose of producing more girl children? Of course, you cannot produce many children from one woman. What was the purpose of Wensonga? Wensonga? It seems Wensonga's network today is bad. There's this fellow who calls himself a star. I don't know what a star is. Let's listen to the star. A star has run away. Marilyn. Marilyn.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning to you.
Well, I think, in my opinion, why they require to give birth, like, to many children, especially the girl children, it was a source of dowry to the parents, like when they grow up. and they get
Really?
married.
Really?
Yeah.
Where is that? Look at the line which talks about is it creating and rearing the future generation? That was the need for many girl children. So when you produce many girls, they will be able to rear and also, first of all, grow and rear the many children that will help to connect to the next generation. Okay, so we have got them. All the 8 points have been mentioned. And for those who have been noting them down, please, that is now what I'm going to mark for you to give me the rough copy and fair copy of that work. That's what I will be looking out for. I will set it as a question. Now let us run through very fast. So I have said you must write the rough copy and fair copy. The 8 points are here, that the more the wives a man had, the better for him and the tribe. That was one of the points we mentioned. The second point, there was love for children. The third point, to avoid prostitution. The fourth point, the need for collective activities that would extend from family to the group. The fifth point, there was need to create and rear the future generation. The sixth point, the fundamental idea that the larger the family, the happier it would be. The seventh point, there was need for women to help each other with domestic chores such as cooking. And then the eighth point, there was need to build a family name after the husband has died. That's why the woman tells her husband that for us to perpetuate a family name so that when we are gone, our family will remain. That was very important. So you're going to write for me the title, then you write for me the rough copy and then the fair copy. The fair copy must be neat, clear, and without any of those crossings that you may have. Next, I want us to look at the meanings of these words very fast in the remaining minutes. What is the meaning of the word advent? We are told that before the advent of the whites, what does advent mean? We are told before the advent of the whites. Let me check out there. Oh, the word is right there. Before the advent of the whites. Let me pick my pen. Before the advent of the whites. What does the word advent mean? Mwami Benjamin.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mwami. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. The word advent means coming.
Okay. So before the coming of the whites, there was no nonsense of chiefdoms and kingdoms, all those things. Thank you, Wami. We are running through very fast now because of time. We want to try to do this. The other word we have is bound up together. Bound up together. What does bound up together mean according to our passage? Vivian? Bound up together, Vivian, what does it mean? It is within that same, Melissa?
I think it means for everyone to be connected.
Thank you. That is very true. That all members were bound up together. They were connected. Thank you. The next word, alien aggression. What does alien aggression mean? Very fast. Alien aggression. By show of hands, Joy Lavins. Some people's hands just remain up. When Songa, you were off and on. You want to say something, then you run away. Miriam. Miriam? Miriam? Okay, seems some people are fearing some words. Now, when we give meanings of the words, first and foremost, we do not repeat the same word. We are supposed to give the synonym, the alternative word, which means the same word. Do not use the same word. Melissa, again, your hand is up.
I think it means like violence that is from somewhere outside of the community.
Okay. Foreign is violent foreign attacks. Those,
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about foreign or outside the tribe. Those attacks that are from outside the tribe, that is true. So because of time, I don't want us to get into another teacher's lesson. But this is my request. I'm going to try to type these very words. You complete for me these very words, and then you give me at least a fair copy. Maybe not the rough copy, but you give me the final fair copy in a paragraph. Then you take a photo and then you forward. I'll set the work in our Google Classroom. You will have it before lunch. I'll make sure I extract this work in question formats, and then you help me do that work in an organized way. Otherwise, thank you so much. If you have any question, I'm giving chance to 2 people or 1 person to ask a question and a passage. If you have a question, this is the time for you to put up your hand and then you ask. Yes, Joy?
Yes, sir. How do we introduce like that the C part, like the question of giving reasons why the Kikuyu, the polygamy in their system? How do we, like, introduction part, the first paragraph, how do we begin?
Do you remember your summary writing of O level?
Somehow.
If somehow, let's borrow that knowledge. How were you introducing your first paragraph?
I'm not quite sure.
The somehow has died. Okay. The somehow should be like this.
Okay.
Since the title has a subject, polygamy in the Gikuyu community. So even as here, you are supposed to come down and simply the first paragraph, which is indented, we only give in 1 paragraph, by the way. This summary writing, we only have 1 paragraph. So the beginning sentence in the first paragraph must contain the subject, which is now polygamy in the Gikuyu culture. So for example, after giving all our points, I would introduce, or rather, my first paragraph, my first sentence would be, the Gikuyu embraced polygamy. Then I state the point. Are we together? To do what? To maybe, for example, let me look out for the points I have there. There is a points I have here. For the need, the Gikuyu embraced polygamy for the need of collective activities that would extend from family group to the tribe, because there was need for women to help one another, something like that. There is no specific way, however, the sentence must contain the subject, which is polygamy. Does that make sense?
So do we bring in like like because of the love of children, something like that.
Yes, because now
we
we are
just
because of the love of children, comma, then you state those points according to the way I have read them to you. You can arrange those points in a way that they can be able to move together. There are points that can easily be connected. Then there are points that stand alone. You can vary.
Thank
Is
you,
that
sir.
okay? You're welcome. Wensonga, your hand is up. I'm taking the last hand from Wensonga.
That's mine.
Joy, can you mute? Wensonga is the last hand, then we go.
Good morning, teacher.
Good morning to you. Today you have been abnormally quiet.
I was inquiring if when it's okay for part D, when you're supposed to explain the meaning of the words, are we supposed to use another word and like how do you say? Are we supposed to just write a synonym or we're supposed to write a full statement explaining what the word means?
No, just a synonym.
All right. Thank
You
you.
give the alternative word. Unless it's a statement, you also give those words. But here we encourage that you simply give us the meaning of the word. For example, advent, arrival, or coming. That is all we want. Bound up together, connected. Just one word. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. We have almost gotten into another teacher's lesson, but I guess it is for the good of learning. Mr. Kakuru, I think it's okay. We can be able to end this lesson.